Welcome to My Hometown, the program that explores clubs, organizations, businesses, and issues across Nassau and Suffolk counties and sheds light on the different towns that are making a difference.
Hello and welcome to My Hometown. I'm Bill Horan, along with my co-host, Stacy Raine.
Bill, today we're going to learn about the Jones Beach Energy and Nature Center, which explores the relationships between human beings, energy systems, and the environment. Located on the west end of Long Island's Jones Beach State Park, the center offers permanent and rotating exhibits, public programs, and educational resources to help visitors understand and appreciate the coastal environment.
Sounds great. I bet many people listening right now didn't even know this existed right in our backyard. Our guest today is Mia Ramirez, lead educator of the Jones Beach Energy and Nature Center. Mia, welcome to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Thank you so much for having me on the show today.
Mia, tell us a little bit how you got involved in this and what made you want to get involved in environmental education.
I graduated in 2020 with a degree in environmental studies, and I went to school at Stony Brook University. Mm-hmm. So after graduating in May 2020, you may be aware, but the job market then was not ideal. And I was feeling a little bit apprehensive about the world that I was going into, but luckily my school had an environmental job postings board curated by one of our professors there at the university, and they posted the position for an environmental education assistant at a brand new nature center. So the Jones Beach Energy and Nature Center opened in 2020. I started there. I was part of the first staff at the building. And what made me want to get into this field is for years prior to graduating, I had been volunteering at another nature center and realized that I had a passion for this field of, just showing people what they can discover in their own backyards, or, across the world. Wherever you can go, there's always an environment, so there's always something to do. And I find a lot of joy in fostering curiosity in the outdoors for members of the public.
Now, Mia, just for our audience, when you mentioned, and we all laughed about it, May of 2020, going back, that was kind of 3 months into the pandemic, if I recall. So did you start out going to an office or a facility, or was everything on Zoom, doing it at home?
When I was first hired, I was hired in July, August, and when we started, we were just meeting each other over Zoom, myself and the other educators. And one of the funny things about this industry is that we spend a lot of time outside rather than in an office. So luckily for that first month during the summer, we were meeting socially distanced outdoors, and the staff was able to do some job training and go see different state parks across Long Island and sort of meet each other and start to build our rapport that way while we were waiting for our building to actually be finished. We didn't even have an office to report to, even if we wanted to.
Yeah.
So I went to Comstead State Park, and we actually had a paleontologist come from Hofstra to help us do job training there. We visited other state parks to see how they would have run some of their programming should things had been normal in 2020, and kind of got that job training while we waited for our building to be completed in September of 2020.
Mia, to be a new graduate in environmental studies and to land this job, you must have thought, wow, this worked out pretty well. A brand new nature center you get to be in on the ground floor, so to speak. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was really, really excited. I think a lot of people who are also going into environmental studies are familiar with the standard is you usually apply to a lot of different seasonal positions, and so that's what I had been doing. But a lot of things that I was applying to, I ended up getting back being like, sorry, we're closed on account of the global pandemic. So I was like, oh, shucks.
Yeah.
And I did feel very, very lucky to be able to land this position because it was permanent, it was year-round, and I knew I was going to learn a lot from the staff that they already had at the Nature Center, who had been a part of New York State Parks for over 10 years, working at Jones Beach at the old Nature Center, the Theodore Roosevelt Nature Center. Some of your listeners may have brought their kids there over the years, but the old Nature Center had different classes then and hikes that people could go on at Jones Beach State Park, but they closed the old Nature Center to open this new project.
That is...
So yeah, I felt really lucky, and I still feel really happy to be there.
Yeah, I can tell. So tell us about the Jones Beach Energy and Nature Center. So I know we explained a little bit about the top, but yeah, tell us everything we need to know.
So if you are a patron and you're interested in going down to the beach, I really recommend that you come and visit the Nature Center. First off, you might be coming down on the Meadowbrook or the Wantagh and approaching the state park. And if you veer west to the west end of Jones Beach, rather than all of the concessions, which you might be familiar with over at the Central Mall area where the Pencil, our water tower, is, if you head west, you'll encounter the part of the park that is a lot more welcoming to wildlife. It's actually sort of like the widest piece of the Jones Beach State Park Island because of the way that sand drifts westward on the island. So there's a lot of landscape there for our dune ecology, and our nature center is nestled like right in the heart of it. So you can stop by. We have free admission. So once you pay for parking, if the beach is open, sometimes there's a parking fee for the state park. But if you pay for parking, or if it's right now before our beach season is open, there's no parking fee whatsoever. You can come right into the nature center, talk to me or my staff and get some facts, or you can join us for a program. We lead hikes, we lead crafts. You could go for a walk down to the water and be able to go straight from our building down to the beach side and be able to enjoy the wonderful view of the Atlantic Ocean. So I like saying that we are a good gateway to our West End landscape. It's really fun.
Yeah, it's fun listening to you talk, and we're very fortunate because many of the guests we have on, we can see as in the first few minutes of a show how much you enjoy your job. You're kind of beaming, now you're laughing. But no, seriously, you can see that. And it's wonderful to see somebody who's really enjoying it. And this isn't just, if it's a stepping stone, that's fine. But it seems like you really like what you do. You're very happy with it. And that exudes to people when they come in.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. If I'm going to come there, I know you're going to be happy to tell me about it, which is exciting.
Because if I have an unhappy dentist, she's going to hurt me. We appreciate that. And it's just wonderful to see somebody enjoys it that much. What are some of the things that are popular because I know if I come there, I would be greeted by that Long Island, let's say, insect that's called the mosquito. And they see me as a moving buffet table. And it's like, oh, he's delicious. Let's bite him here. Let's bite him there. So what other things would be available?
For one, maybe you'll see mosquitoes. I'm sure that they're probably
they'll see me.
Yeah, they'll see you first, and then you'll have a good time when you arrive. But other than that, some of my favorite animals to see are birds. I'm a big birder. So if anyone here has been interested in the birding hobby, or you are wondering can you be a bird? What is birding? It is the hobby of going out and observing birds in usually their natural habitat. You wouldn't necessarily include going to a zoo or something like that for this. So we have a lot of wildlife that call Jones Beach either home or hotel. Either they stay with us year round, or we have birds that pass by only in migration season. So we see up to about 300 different kinds of birds in one whole year throughout all of the seasons. So for your reference, you might see maybe 10 different species in your backyard if you're a given suburban Long Island backyard. So 10 versus 300, you can see the difference there.
Yeah.
And birding is basically you might take binoculars, or you might just be attentive with your ears and listening out for different bird calls. And Jones Beach's West End is a very well-known birding hotspot. So that's something if you come by and you want to either just get a foothold, a little toehold into the hobby, and you want to learn more, we're happy to show you and kind of point out the best spots to explore. Other than birds, you can also have a good chance of seeing whales or dolphins, different marine mammals throughout the year at Jones Beach. I've personally in November seen 10 different whales across, just by going into work, clocking in, looking out the deck and going, oh, there's another spout.
Wow.
So
what
pretty
a place
neat.
To work.
Yeah, pretty. I know. I do put in the hours. 40 hours a week will get me a lot of whale watching chances. But we're happy to give people tips on if you're a frequent beach walker and you're like, I didn't actually know we had dolphins. I never noticed whales. Or right now we're just sort of at the tail end of our seal spotting season over at Jones Beach. We're more than happy to either give you those tips or let you know about a program where you might be able to come with us and have a personal tour with an educator to show you those spots on Jones Beach.
And Stacy, before you ask the next question, I just want to trap Mia. I heard you say the word free before, F-R-E-E, which means in America no cost. Is that real, or were you just fooling us?
Well, I am a New York State Parks employee, so we are paid for with taxes. So I say free, but I also want to implore people, hey, we're here as a public service. You've already paid for this through your taxes, so you might hear free and think there's a catch. I would say that's the only catch. And so the admission into the museum is is free. You don't have to pay any admission. And I really just want more people to know about us, because you should take advantage of what you've already paid for.
Honestly, I didn't know.
Yeah.
And we always love that word free, but I just wanted to make sure you weren't fooling us. You're a nice person, but maybe you wanted to invite us, and when we get there, say you have to pay this or that.
Yeah, I will say, FYI, check if the park is charging for parking at the time of year that you would like to visit. Yeah. That's the only thing, is there is a vehicle use fee, but if you have an Empire State Pass, or this year they're rolling out a program for veterans. Yep. Veterans will be able to get into the parks for free, so just stay tuned for that policy change. Or if you are over the age of 62 during the week, Monday through Friday, I believe if you show your ID, you can also get into the park for free Monday through Friday throughout the year.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have kids. I have little kids. Is this a good place to take them? I
see kids that are, just fresh into the world and ready to learn about the environment. And then, we have adult kids, if you will, all the way up to the, 90 plus coming to the center.
Awesome.
So we have lots of little things for young kids to explore. We have different exhibits that have interactive features. So we have, for example, if you ever remembered a Light Bright, playing with Light Bright, maybe if you're a 90s kid, we have a sort of larger Light Bright, a little creative peg and hole situation where you can create your own designs.
That's cool.
We have toys kind of scattered throughout different parts of the center. Our exhibits themselves are written at a 6th grade reading level in both English and in Spanish. So if you have an older child, you're more than welcome to come in, and hopefully they'll absorb some education from the walls themselves. We also have something called a Wentz scope, which is, if you can picture the tiny aperture or the looking glass of a microscope, this is bigger, so it's much easier for kids ages 2 to 12 to actually be able to look in and view things on a up close level. So kids love exploring different items that we have on display through that. And we also have a touch tank. So that is a tank that has different aquatic creatures living in it, and such as, let's say, a hermit crab. And an educator will be able to show kids the hermit crab when you come to visit. We have certain hours that it's open that you can check our website, or you can always call and see when the touch tank will be available in that month. And then that way you know when to pass by with your kids and have an educator show you around.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so definitely call ahead if you have any questions.
Yeah, absolutely. On your website, it says, on Jones Beach, energy is everywhere. So can you explain to me what that means?
So what I really love about our location is that it is a great way to observe how Mother Nature shapes a landscape before your eyes. I'm sure everyone's been on the beach. The wind blows, you just get a mouthful of sand. That's not fun. But what that is an example of the kinetic energy and the movement of sediment. And Jones Beach is a barrier island. So Jones Beach, Long Beach, Fire Island, those barrier islands are always moving and changing and shifting. They're very dynamic. That's the nature of them. You might think of energy as, a lot of people give us the example, well, energy is just like electricity. It powers my phone. But really, it involves so many more things that are happening around you that maybe you didn't think of as energy, but there's power behind the wind. There's power behind the waves. So I like being able to open people's minds to that if they weren't already thinking of it when they arrive.
You are listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC. My name is Stacy Raine, here with Bill Horan, and we're learning about the Jones Beach Energy and Nature Center, which explores the relationships between human beings, energy systems, and the environment. Located on the west end of Long Island's Jones Beach State Park, the center offers permanent and rotating exhibits, public programs, and educational resources to help visitors understand and appreciate the coastal environment. Our guest today is Mia Ramirez, lead educator of the Jones Beach Energy and Nature Center.
Mia, as I'm listening to you answering questions, I'm just thinking, do you teach this anywhere? Like are you at Stony Brook or Hofstra? Or
Oh
Nashua?
no, I'm my educator title just refers to I plan and lead programs at the Nature Center.
Because you'd be very good. You have the demeanor of a teacher and the nature, and I mean that very complimentary.
Yes.
You've got me excited about it, and also you kind of have the best of a salesperson because you bring out excitement. I want to see this, even though those mosquitoes are going to feast on me. It really sounds like maybe we'll do a field trip from the studio there or something. And then we'll say Mia told us, so she's got to come out with us and be part of the mosquito feast. So now, is this a nonprofit? Is that what the organization is?
We are not a nonprofit. We are underneath the Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historical Preservation for New York State. So we're all New York State employees.
Do businesses get involved in sponsoring any of your either events or exhibits?
We often do collaborations with some other environmental organizations. So one of our partners is AMCS, which is the Atlantic Marine Conservation Society. If you've ever heard about whales washing up and someone responding and either doing a necropsy, which is basically a study of like why that whale might have passed away, or maybe there's a seal that is injured and might need a rescue. They're one of the organizations in Long Island and the Northeast that respond to things like that. And so we've had them over to release sea turtles that were rehabbed over the winter. They've released sea turtles in Jones Beach State Park. They host a cocktail fundraiser every year at our facility. They rent out our facility in the evening after we've closed to the public, and they raise money so that they can continue doing the great things that they accomplish. Some other partners that we've worked with at the Audubon Society to like co-lead hikes and also raise awareness about endangered species that share our shores in the summer. So that is, for example, the piping plover, a bird that's really adorable. I would say if you can picture it, it's kind of like palm-sized. They run really, really fast on the beach, have orange legs and an orange beak and a nice little black necklace. So the Audubon Society will also come and help us raise awareness so people know, hey, that's why we have parts of the beach closed off. Humans get to enjoy themselves on this part, and then the animals need to raise their young on that part. So we partner with the organizations, but they're not exactly sponsors.
Okay, fair enough.
I have heard that people can get involved through volunteering there. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we have some volunteer events throughout the year. So at the Nature Center, we have a pollinator garden. What that means is that we have plants that encourage bees, butterflies, birds, and all sorts of different animals that love flowers and love seeds and all of that to come to this garden. But the pollinator garden does need some upkeep, so we often have like cleanup events where people can help us get rid of some of the dead heads and things like that. Or we are constantly fighting off invasive species. So we've actively planted native species. That means an organism that is from a local area. It is used to subsisting on and surviving off of the natural precipitation and nutrients and all the things available in that area. And then an invasive species is a species that comes from outside of that location and is originally from a different area and doesn't really share resources well. So one example of this is Phragmites, which is a European reed that you might see on like the side of the 495. If you see something that's big and has like a big bottle brush up top and you're like, is that wheat? Is that corn? Probably Phragmites. And the problem with that plant is that it takes up resources that the native plants would be using. And unfortunately, for our native pollinators, which a lot, for example, a lot of bees, their populations are dying off, which you might have heard in the last few years. Our native animals and pollinators need native species to support them best, and then invasive species like Phragmites don't offer as many nutritional benefits or other benefits to those species, and instead they take away biodiversity in an area, which means we may not see. Let's say normally we would see like 100 different species of plants in a given area if it was all native, but then an invasive species comes in and that biodiversity, that variety of plants goes down to like 20, 30 species because of the resources being taken up. Anywho, if you're a volunteer, you can help us with this cause by helping us get rid of some of the invasive species and make more room for the species we want to flourish.
Yeah, you'll be able to see your work right away, which would be really nice.
Exactly. If you come back to the center in like a few months, you'll see some plants that grew in an area that you've helped us save from another species that wasn't as beneficial.
Right.
Yeah, I think you just recruited a volunteer, and I'm pointing to my partner here, Stacy. You've got her all excited about this now, so we won't be able to do the show in future weeks. She'll be out helping you.
I know you're not coming down because you're already afraid of the mosquitoes, but trust me, if you're tired of the outside, you can always take refuge inside the museum. A lot less mosquitoes.
See, you didn't tell me that before. Okay. Now, speaking of that, let's talk about something else. I read that you have sustainable net zero principles of design and construction. For example, the use of solar panels and geothermal wells. What does all that mean?
Oh, boy. Let me tell you a little about this.
Is it good for mosquitoes?
It is. Okay, let's see. We're getting into what the people want. Let's see. I don't have any, mosquito zappers around the building. So sorry. We do have some species of animals like tree swallows that'll eat up the mosquitoes.
Oh, right.
So that's
what I like to hear.
And two, geothermal wells and sustainable principles. Our museum was constructed as sort of like an experiment. You might be hearing from New York State that there's different buildings, there's new nature centers and other municipal buildings that are trying to use either renewable energy sources, so something that like solar energy, through solar panels. We have 260 solar panels on the roof of our building.
Wow.
So we generate renewable energy at the nature center. And then we also have geothermal wells. Geo means earth, thermal means heat. You put it together, you have Earth's heat. And what we do is we take advantage of the Earth's heat in order to help heat and cool our building. All of your listeners probably know that your heating, bills and using your AC in the summer is what takes up a lot of money and energy in your homes. So if you're able to make the heating and cooling more efficient, you're saving energy in the long run. And so our efficiency comes from this geothermal well, where we basically use a heat pump and use electricity to run this heat pump. So it's not like a boiler where you're, you might be like burning a fuel, right? This is using electricity, and we run water down the well, and it goes underneath the ground. And underneath the ground, Earth's heat kind of keeps the temperature pretty constant compared to up here on the Earth's surface, where weather changes everything. It's usually like 50 degrees Fahrenheit underneath our feet in this location, and then it brings the water back up into the building. And then we use electricity to run a heat pump where we can either raise that water's temperature to, let's say, like a comfortable temperature, like 70 degrees Fahrenheit, to kind of help us, warm up the building, or we can cool it off if, let's say, it's the summertime and we need to kind of use, cool off the air temperature to make it more comfortable for everybody. We have a radiant flooring that runs pipes with this water all throughout the building. So if you come into our building in the wintertime, sometimes if you put your hands on our terracotta floor, you'll feel the heat kind of radiating off of the floor. The reason this is a little bit more efficient is because we have a really large building, and we're able to use electricity to run this whole system rather than that the alternatives, which might create some pollution, like through using fossil fuels. And what I said before was we also have solar panels that generate electricity through renewable energy. So the idea behind the net zero, the zero energy, like you might hear that phrase spoken about in our museum, is that we're paying back all of the energy we use by producing energy, so it zeroes out. And we're trying to not use a lot of fossil fuels to heat or cool our building or anything like that. And by paying it back with the renewable energy, we're trying to kind of like zero out our effect on the environment.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me, again, Stacey, I'm just going to interrupt. You know so much about this. I have to ask you, like when something goes wrong, are you in charge of the plumbing and the construction? Do you take care of these things too and fix things?
Oh, man, I just kind of walk up to a problem and go, yeah, they didn't send me to school for that. I can talk about it, but do not hand me a wrench.
Okay, you're so knowledgeable. I'm just more and more impressed.
Thank you.
I'm going to take a minute to remind our listeners that you are listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC. I'm Stacy Raine here with Bill Horan, and today we're learning about the Jones Beach Energy and Nature Center, which explores the relationships between human beings, energy systems, and the environment. Located on the west end of Long Island's Jones Beach State Park, the center offers permanent and rotating exhibits, public programs, and educational resources to help visitors understand and appreciate the coastal environment. Our guest today is Mia Ramirez, lead educator of the Jones Beach Energy and Nature Center. Mia, I love the statement, outside the center's doors, the coast becomes the classroom. So what can people learn about on the beach itself?
One of the things we do at the Nature Center is we lead field trips. So that's one of the reasons we have that phrase is we literally bring our kids outside to be able to experience everything for themselves. But you don't have to go with a guide to just be curious and learn. So one of the things I like to recommend is if people go outside and you want to do sort of like an intentional walk, just kind of give yourself that checklist of like, ask yourself 3 questions about something you notice when you're outside on a walk. So you could just be going for like half a mile and just look around and be like, I wonder what that plant is. Or maybe you go and you notice there's like paw prints or something in the sand. You can go, I wonder if, like, what animal that be, or where do they live and where are they going? And I think people will find that once you get in the habit of just being a little more curious, you might you might come back to the Nature Center, ask someone who has the knowledge about it, or maybe you'll be inclined to go and follow a path or look at a plant more closely, or kind of investigate it yourself. And at the beach, I think another good thing to notice is that what you see in one season may be completely different the next time you go and visit. When I was talking about earlier with the wind blowing sand around, barrier islands are moving because the sediment is constantly moving. You might see big changes in the shape of a beach because of erosion just from season to season. If anyone's ever seen Jones Beach on the news because there was a storm and flooding happened, it's very natural for that to happen because of the kind of island we are. So just by being curious, asking questions, and just kind of like noticing changes over time, I think you just learn a lot about the environment that way.
Yeah.
Mia, what can you tell us about if there's teachers out there for schools or Boy Scout, Girl Scout groups, brownies? Are there programs available that they should know about? Because we're so lucky to have the coastline here, as you said, and it's such a learning experience. Give us a 30-second commercial for that.
Oh, boy, 30 seconds. Okay, so if you are a teacher, a scout troop leader, and you want to come down to the Nature Center, we offer programs that you can investigate on our website, or you can always call us if you want help. We have different kinds of field trips that go all the way from talking about engineering topics to the environmental studies outdoor world. And if you ever want to do a self-guided program and you want advice on how to bring your students around and what activities to do with them, we also have a curriculum that's based off of the exhibits in the Nature Center that's completely free and available on our website that you could use to teach yourself the content and then be able to teach your students or bring your troop around and lead them through an activity that we've already planned for you and just are handing off.
Oh, that's amazing. And quickly, you do audio tours as well, right, for visitors?
Yes, we also have audio tours available. So if you bring your phone, scan the QR code, toss in your AirPods or your Bluetooth, and you can just walk yourself around the center and listen to an audio tour in either English, Spanish, Mandarin. We also have an ASL tour. So there's an ASL interpreter that you would be able to view on your phone, kind of bringing you through some of the exhibits. And there's an audio description tour. So if you're visually impaired, you can listen along to the tour, and they'll also describe some of the things that you may not be able to see in its full capacity for yourself.
Amazing.
Are there any final words you want to tell our audience? You've been so impressive. I'm just, I want to get out there even though the mosquitoes might bite me.
I know, I'm coming.
I just want to say everyone's welcome at the beach. You don't have to come just to have fun in the sun. You can also come inside and, sit down, talk with a couple of people who are also interested in the environment. You can go for a walk with a pair of binoculars and spot some birds in the distance. And in the winter, there's even seals that you can go and say hi to as they swim by you in the bay. So I just want you to think of the beach year round and come see us down at the Jones Beach Energy and Nature Center.
That's really awesome. I want our audience to be reminded that our guest today has been Mia Ramirez. She is the lead educator of the Jones Beach Energy and Nature Center. Mia, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate talking to both of you here today. It's been just a joy.
And thanks for educating us. And you are a great lead educator. I'm Bill Horan. I'm here with Stacy Raine. We want to thank you for listening to this week's episode of My Hometown.
We'd like to get your feedback on My Hometown. Send your comments to WHPC at ncc.edu. Nassau Community College, where success starts and continues. Till next time, this is Bill St. James. And remember, there's no town like your hometown.